The cold gel on my stomach was a familiar shock. My 20th week, the big ultrasound, the one where you see fingers and toes, where you might, if you wanted, find out if you're painting the nursery blue or pink. I wanted to know. So did my husband, Mark. He'd kissed my forehead that morning, his smile not quite reaching his tired eyes. Text me the second you know, Lily. I've got that big client lunch, but I'm thinking of you. Dr. Evans, the senior obstetrician I'd seen for months, had been called to an emergency delivery. In her place was a sonographer I'd never met, a woman named Anya with kind, sharp eyes and a no-nonsense demeanor. She introduced herself, confirmed my name, Lily Callahan, and got to work. The room was dark, quiet, except for the rhythmic whoosh-whoosh of the Doppler, the sound of my baby's heartbeat filling the space. A healthy, strong gallop. I smiled, tears of relief pricking my eyes. Everything was perfect. Anya moved the transducer with practiced ease, clicking measurements, femur length, head circumference. She was quiet, focused. Then she paused over the heart, the four-chamber view. She zoomed in, clicked a freeze frame. Her movements, which had been fluid, became deliberate, slow. She zoomed in again. I saw her hands first. They began to tremble, a fine, barely perceptible shake at first, then more pronounced. She took a deep, steadying breath, but the tremor didn't stop. "Is everything okay?" I asked, my own heart beginning to pick up its pace, out of sync with my baby's steady rhythm. "Just getting a perfect picture," she said, but her voice was tight. She continued scanning, her gaze locked on the monitor she'd angled away from me. She moved down to the lower abdomen, the bladder. She froze another image. Her breath hitched. This wasn't about perfect pictures. This was dread. She slowly withdrew the transducer, her hands still unsteady. She wiped the gel from my stomach with a cloth, her motions robotic. Then she did something utterly unprofessional, something that broke every protocol. She reached over and gripped my wrist, her fingers cold and strong. "Mrs. Callahan, Lily, listen to me very carefully," she whispered, her voice low and urgent, laced with a fear that was contagious. "You need to leave this clinic right now. Do not go home. Go to a friend's house, a hotel, your parents if they're close, and you need to get a divorce." The words were so absurd, so violently out of place in this dark, hopeful room that I laughed, a short, sharp sound of disbelief. "What? What are you talking about? Is it the baby? Is something wrong with the baby?" "The baby is fine, perfectly healthy," she said, her eyes drilling into mine. "This isn't about the baby." "Then what? Why would you say that?" "There's no time to explain here. It's not safe." Her eyes darted to the closed door. "You'll understand when you see this." With a final furtive glance at the door, she turned the ultrasound monitor toward me. It wasn't the live image, it was the frozen frame she'd captured over the lower abdomen. "This is a standard view, checking your anatomy and the baby's position," she said, her finger pointing to the grainy black and white shapes. I saw the curve of my baby's spine, the shadow of a tiny foot, and then she pointed to a series of small, irregular, hyperechoic, bright white dots clustered in my own tissue, near my cervix. They looked like tiny, scattered stars. "What are those?" I asked, my medical knowledge from nursing school rising through the panic. They didn't look like normal anatomy. "They are foreign bodies, metallic fragments. They have a very specific signature on ultrasound." Her voice dropped even lower. "They are fragments of a microabrasive material, often found in certain types of industrial sabotage or in specialized slow-release toxic applications." My brain refused to process it. "What does that mean?" She pointed to one particularly bright cluster. "This location, it's adjacent to major vascular supply. Over time, with movement and heat, these fragments, which are designed to be biopersistent, would slowly release their payload into your bloodstream. The target wouldn't be you, Lily. It would be the fetus. It would cause cumulative, undetectable neurological damage. It would look like a tragic, random birth defect. The world tilted. The whoosh-whoosh of the heartbeat on the speakers now sounded like a warning drum. How would they get there? I whispered, but I already knew. A cold certainty was spreading through my veins, colder than the gel had been. Anya's face was a mask of pity and fury. "You have to go," Anya urged again, snapping me back. She quickly printed 2 sets of images, the normal ones and a disc containing the frozen frames with the metallic clusters. She handed me the disc, hiding it between pages of my prenatal booklet. "Take this to another OB at a different hospital. Tell them you want a full workup for unexplained hyperechoic pelvic findings. Do not tell them what I said. And for God's sake, do not go home." I dressed with robotic efficiency. Anya wrote a name and address on a piece of paper. "This is my sister. She's a family law attorney. She'll see you today. Go there first." I walked out of the clinic, the sun blindingly bright. I didn't get in my car. I walked to a nearby park, sat on a bench, and called my older sister, Rachel. My voice was a monotone. "Rachel, I need you to come get me. Don't ask questions, just come. And bring a big suitcase." Then I opened my phone's tracking app. I shared my location with Rachel, and I turned off the location sharing with Mark. The game was on. He thought he was engineering a tragedy. He had no idea he'd just created a war, and I was carrying his Achilles heel right inside me, captured in grainy black and white. The world outside the park bench was a blur of normalcy. Children laughing, dogs barking, a couple sharing ice cream. It felt like a mockery. My skin crawled with a phantom sensation of those microscopic invaders, a secret corruption beneath the happy, rounded surface of my pregnancy. Rachel pulled up 15 minutes later, her minivan screeching to a halt. She took one look at my face, pale and set like stone, and didn't ask a single question. "Get in." I directed her not to her house, but to a large chain electronics store. "I need a burner phone, a prepaid credit card, and a secure, portable hard drive," I said, my voice still that frightening monotone. "Lily, what the hell is going on?" Rachel finally asked, her knuckles white on the steering wheel. I handed her the ultrasound disc. "Put this in your glove compartment. Don't lose it. It's evidence that Mark is trying to poison our baby." Her face went through a spectacular journey from confusion to disbelief to horrified comprehension. She knew Mark. She'd never liked his cool, controlled demeanor, calling him a calculator with a pulse. Now, that calculation had taken a monstrous turn. We got the supplies. In the parking lot, I used the burner phone to call Anya's sister, the attorney, Valerie. I gave a clipped version of events. She listened in profound silence. "Come to my office, back entrance, now." Valerie's office was in a nondescript brick building. She was a woman in her 50s with Anya's same sharp eyes, but where Anya's held medical urgency, Valerie's held the cold, assessing gaze of a battlefield general. She ushered us into a private conference room. "Show me," she said. I inserted the disc into her laptop. Valerie zoomed in on the clusters, comparing them to the normal anatomy shots. She didn't need a medical degree to see the anomaly. Then she pulled up a legal database and cross-referenced Mark's company, Axiom Biomedical, with patent filings and published research. They have 3 active patents for targeted microabrasive carriers for site-specific therapeutic release, she muttered, scrolling. One specifically mentions gynecological applications for non-systemic treatment. She looked at me. He has the intellectual property. The question is physical evidence and intent. "How do we get that?" Rachel asked, her arm tight around my shoulders. "We don't, not yet. First, we secure Lily's safety and get independent medical confirmation." Valerie made calls. She booked me a room at an extended stay hotel under her firm's account. She scheduled an appointment for me at a major university hospital 2 hours away with a maternal fetal medicine specialist she trusted. You will tell them you had an unclear scan and want a second opinion due to anxiety. You will not mention the TEX theory. Let them find it themselves. Then she laid out the brutal, immediate steps. You are effectively going underground, Lily. You will not contact Mark. You will not go to your home. We will have a paralegal accompany Rachel to your house later today to collect essential items: clothes, your passport, important documents. If Mark is there, they will say you're staying with Rachel due to pregnancy nausea and sent them for your things. No drama. What about the fragments inside me? The question made me feel violently ill. The specialist will determine if they can or should be removed. Your health and the baby's are the priority. Once we have that second report, we have the foundation for a restraining order, a marital separation, and a potential criminal investigation. The plan was a life raft in a tsunami. I clung to it. That night, in the sterile hotel room, the reality crashed down. I curled on the bed, sobbing for the betrayal so profound it defied comprehension, for the life I thought I had, for the innocence of this pregnancy now forever scarred. Rachel held me, crying silent tears of her own rage. My burner phone buzzed, not with a call but with automated alerts. I'd set up alerts for our joint accounts and home security system. A notification flashed: back door, open, 9:47 p.m. Mark was home. Another alert: master bedroom motion detected, 10:02 p.m. He was in our room. A minute later, my personal phone, powered off in my bag, lit up with a missed call notification from the charger. He'd tried my cell, then the home landline, then Rachel's cell. She showed me the screen. Mark, 4 missed calls. He was looking for me. The client lunch must have ended. My absence and the silence from the clinic, Anya would have filed a vague report citing technical issues requiring a repeat scan, had triggered his alarm. "Don't answer," Valerie ordered. "Let him stew. Let him wonder if you know." The next morning at the university hospital, the specialist, Dr. Chen, was thorough and kind. I played my part, the anxious mom-to-be wanting reassurance. When she slid the transducer over the same area, her pleasant expression faltered. She spent even longer than Anya had, using advanced Doppler settings. "I'm seeing some unusual particulate echoes here, Lily," she said carefully. "It's probably nothing, sometimes calcifications, old scar tissue, but given the location and presentation, I'd like to run some additional non-invasive tests, a specialized MRI to characterize the material, and a panel of blood tests to check for any unusual toxins or heavy metals." My heart hammered. She'd seen it, without prompting. Could it hurt the baby? I asked. "The baby looks perfect right now," she said, but her eyes were wary. "Our job is to make sure it stays that way. We'll admit you for observation and run these tests today." I was admitted under my own name, a risk, but Valerie advised it was necessary for the medical record chain of custody. From my hospital bed, I called Valerie.
"It's confirmed. They see it. They're testing." "Good. Now we wait, and we push." Valerie's voice was grimly satisfied. "I'm filing for a temporary emergency restraining order and exclusive use of the marital home based on evidence of potential endangerment. The preliminary medical report will be enough for a judge to sign, especially given your husband's field of work." While I underwent the MRI, a claustrophobic hour of dread, Valerie worked. The TRO was granted by a family court judge that afternoon. It barred Mark from coming within 500 feet of me, our home, my workplace, and my hospital. It granted me temporary exclusive possession of our house. The judge, upon reviewing Dr. Chen's preliminary notes and an affidavit from Valerie outlining Mark's professional expertise, cited credible evidence of a serious and unusual threat to the petitioner's health and the health of her unborn child. A sheriff's deputy served Mark at his office. Valerie called me with the update. He was served. According to the deputy, he read the papers, went very still, and said, "This is a misunderstanding. I need to talk to my wife." He was advised that would violate the order. He then requested an attorney. He didn't deny it. He called it a misunderstanding. The final thread of hope that this was some horrific mistake snapped. The MRI results came back the next day. Dr. Chen sat down with me, her face grave. The fragments are metallic, as suspected. They are clustered in a gel-like biodegradable matrix that is designed to erode over time. The composition is a proprietary alloy. We've detected trace amounts of a neurotoxic heavy metal in your blood serum at levels just below clinical concern, but with a half-life that suggests recent, ongoing exposure. She put a hand on mine. "Lily, someone has introduced this material into your body. The configuration and the technology involved suggest a deliberate, sophisticated act. Do you have any idea how this could have happened?" I looked at her, at Rachel standing guard by the door, and I told the truth. My husband is a biomedical engineer. His company works with this exact technology. He didn't want this baby. Dr. Chen's expression solidified into one of professional fury. "I see. We will coordinate with hospital security and the police. Your obstetric care will be transferred to our team here for the duration. We will monitor you and the baby extremely closely. As for the fragments, surgically removing them in your condition is too risky. The matrix will dissolve on its own over the next few weeks. We will use chelation therapy to bind and remove the heavy metals from your bloodstream safely. The goal is to minimize any exposure to the fetus." It was a plan, a treatment, a fight. I was discharged 2 days later, armed with supplements, a strict monitoring schedule, and a body that felt like a crime scene. Rachel drove me not to the hotel, but to my own house. The TRO made it mine for now. A locksmith had already changed all the locks. Walking in was surreal. It smelled of him, his cologne, his coffee, but it was silent. His side of the closet was still full. His toothbrush was in the holder. It was a museum of our life, and every artifact was now evidence of his deceit. I went straight to his home office. It was locked. I didn't have the key, but I had a fury that made me resourceful. I found a heavy metal bookend and broke the simple interior door handle. The office was a shrine to his intellect. Neat shelves, technical manuals, awards. I went to his computer. It required a password. I didn't try my name. I tried the only thing I could think of, the name of the street where he grew up, a place he hated, Elmwood. It unlocked. His desktop was orderly, but I navigated to the browsing history. Cleared, of course. I searched for hidden files. Nothing obvious. Then I remembered a cloud backup service he used. I clicked the icon. It asked for a password. I tried Elmwood again. Denied. Frustrated, I was about to give up when I saw a small silver key fob on his desk for a secure digital vault, a hardware key. I plugged it into the USB port. An auto-launch program bypassed the password. It opened a directory named Project G. Inside were files, schematics, chemical formulas, purchase orders from a specialty materials supplier made out to a dummy corporation I recognized as a shell for Axiom's black budget projects. One file was a log. Initial matrix synthesis complete. Carrier properties optimal for mucosal adhesion and slow release, 8 to 12-week timeline. Test subject, porcine, shows successful localized delivery with no systemic spillover. Proceeding to Phase 2. Phase 2, human application method finalized. Topical gel applicator designed for covert administration. Dose calibrated for 95% efficacy in target neutralization with less than 5% maternal uptake. Awaiting opportunity. Opportunity presented. Subject, LC, compliant. Administration successful during mutual intimacy on date, 2 weeks prior to my ultrasound. Monitoring initiated. Expect detectable ultrasonic signature at 20-week scan. Prepare narrative for tragic fetal diagnosis. I read the words, and the room swam. Subject LC, Lily Callahan. During mutual intimacy. He had done it in the one act that was supposed to be about love and connection. He had turned our bed into a laboratory, my body into his experiment. I felt violated to the core of my being, but I also felt a soaring, vindictive triumph. I had it, the smoking gun, not just medical evidence, but his own records, his cold, clinical confession. I copied every file onto the portable hard drive. Then I called Valerie. I have his project files. He logged everything. He called me Subject LC. Valerie let out a low whistle. Email them to me, encrypted, now. Then pack a bag again. You can't stay there. He may have remote access or alerts. We're going to the police with this, today. As I hit send, my personal phone, now charged and silenced, lit up with a text from Mark, the first direct communication. Mark, Lily, we need to talk. This has gotten out of hand. I can explain everything. Please, meet me at our spot, the coffee shop on Pine, 4 p.m. I'll be waiting. Our spot, where he'd proposed. He was using sentiment as a weapon. I didn't reply. I took a screenshot and sent it to Valerie. Then I packed a bag, my hands steady. The boiling blood had cooled into a permanent, glacial resolve. He would be waiting at the coffee shop, but I wouldn't be coming to talk. I was coming to watch the police arrest him.
Valerie coordinated with a detective from the Major Crimes Unit who specialized in cases involving technology and domestic violence. Detective Flores, a woman with a calm, unwavering gaze, met us at the station. She reviewed the medical files, the TRO, and then the Project G files from Mark's computer. Her lips pressed into a thin line. "This is one of the most premeditated, chilling things I've ever seen," she said quietly. "We have enough for arrest and search warrants. Today." The plan was set. I would go to the coffee shop, accompanied by plainclothes officers stationed inside and out. I would wear a wire. I would not get close, but would maintain a distance, forcing him to speak clearly. The goal was to get a verbal admission on tape to corroborate the digital evidence. At 3:55 p.m., I walked into the coffee shop on Pine. It smelled of roasted beans and nostalgia, a scent that now made my stomach turn. He was there, at our usual table in the back, 2 coffees waiting. He looked up. He looked terrible, pale, unshaven, his usual impeccable suit rumpled. He saw me, and a desperate hope flashed in his eyes. He didn't see the tiny receiver tucked in my bra, or the detectives posing as students at a nearby table. I stopped 10 feet from the table. "I'm here. Talk." "Lily, please, sit." His voice was ragged. "No, say what you have to say." He ran a hand through his hair. "The things in the TRO, the medical stuff, it's a terrible misunderstanding. There's a project at work, yes, but it's not what you think. Someone must have, I don't know, stolen the material, used it to set me up." "Set you up? To do what, Mark?" My voice was ice. "To make it look like I hurt you, to hurt the baby. Maybe a disgruntled employee, a competitor." He was flailing, the lie transparent and pathetic. The logs in Project G, Subject LC, the notes about administration during intimacy. Was that a disgruntled employee too? All color drained from his face. He hadn't known I'd breached his vault. The shock was absolute. The carefully constructed facade of the wronged man crumbled, revealing the frantic, cornered animal beneath. You went into my office? My private files?" The betrayal in his voice was almost laughable. "You put poison in me, Mark, to kill our child. There is nothing private about that." His eyes darted around, the reality of his situation dawning. The hope in his eyes died, replaced with a cold, calculating panic. "It wasn't poison. It was a corrective measure. The genetic screening, Lily. It showed a high probability of severe disability. I was protecting us from a lifetime of suffering. I was going to tell you it was a tragic, natural anomaly. We would grieve and move on, stronger. I did it for us." It was a new lie, more monstrous than the last. We'd had genetic screening. It was perfectly normal. He was inventing a noble motive for an unspeakable act. The screening was clear, Mark. There is no disability. There is only you, and what you did. He stood up suddenly, his chair scraping loudly. The detectives at the next table subtly shifted. Mark Callahan, you are under arrest for the attempted murder of Lily Callahan, attempted fetal homicide, assault with a deadly weapon, and violation of a domestic violence restraining order. The rest was abuzz as they read him his rights. The other patrons stared, phones raised. He didn't look at me again as they led him out in handcuffs, his head bowed. The spectacle was over. But my war wasn't. The legal proceedings were a slow, grinding tsunami. Mark was denied bail given the severity of the charges and the evidence. His company, Axiom, immediately distanced itself, claiming Project G was an unauthorized, rogue experiment. They settled a civil suit with me out of court for a substantial sum, desperate to avoid the scandal. The criminal case was airtight. With the digital logs, the medical evidence, the toxicology reports, and the coffee shop recording, his attorney eventually advised him to plead guilty to reduced charges to avoid a trial that would guarantee life in prison. He pled guilty to aggravated assault, criminal endangerment of a dependent, and illegal use of a biological agent. He was sentenced to 25 years, with eligibility for parole in 15. The divorce was swift and final. I was granted everything: the house, which I sold immediately, the remaining assets, full legal and physical custody of my child. The name Callahan felt like a brand of shame, but it was my son's name too. I would let him decide what to do with it later. Through it all, the baby grew. The chelation therapy worked. Sequential ultrasounds showed the metallic clusters slowly dissolving. The baby's brain development, monitored with frequent neurosonograms, remained on track 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 with frequent neurosonograms,
remained on track with frequent neurosonograms, remained on track with frequent neurosonograms, remained on track with frequent neurosonograms, remained on track with frequent neurosonograms, remained on track with frequent neurosonograms, remained on track with frequent neurosonograms, remained on track with frequent neurosonograms, remained on track with frequent neurosonograms, remained on track with frequent neurosonograms, remained on track with frequent neurosonograms, remained on track with frequent neurosonograms, remained on track with frequent neurosonograms, remained on track with frequent neurosonograms, remained on track with frequent neurosonograms, remained on track with frequent neurosonograms, remained on track with frequent neurosonograms, remained on track with frequent neurosonograms, remained on track with frequent neurosonograms, remained on track with frequent neurosonograms, remained on track with frequent neurosonograms, remained on track with frequent neurosonograms, remained on track with frequent neurosonograms, remained on track with frequent neurosonograms, remained on track with frequent neurosonograms, remained on track with frequent neurosonograms, remained on track with frequent neurosonograms, remained on track with frequent neurosonograms, remained on track with frequent neurosonograms, remained on track with frequent neurosonograms, remained on track with frequent neurosonograms, remained on track with frequent neurosonograms, remained on track with frequent neurosonograms, remained on track with frequent neurosonograms, remained on track with frequent neurosonograms, remained on track with frequent neurosonograms, remained on track with frequent neurosonograms, remained on track with frequent neurosonograms, remained on track with frequent neurosonograms, remained on track with frequent neurosonograms, remained on track with frequent neurosonograms, remained on track with frequent neurosonograms, remained on track with frequent neurosonograms, remained on track with frequent neurosonograms, remained on track with frequent neurosonograms, remained on track with frequent neurosonograms, remained on track with frequent neurosonograms, remained on track with frequent neurosonograms, remained on track with frequent